Well, hey there, EK Nation. It's Rob Howden here alongside David Cole for another edition of This Week in Karting, episode number 89, September the 8th, 2025, as we start a new week. CKNA Grand Nationals in the front of the mirror right now, or at least in the windshield. Looking forward to that in a couple of weeks. Can't wait to get back down to Newcastle Motorsports Park. But lots going on in the sport right now, so let's dive into what's been happening here in the sport around the country and around the world. Today's edition of This Week in Karting brought to you by Kart CRG USA. CRG is the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. Kart CRG USA is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside Houston, Texas, Kart CRG USA supports dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. Check out the CRG KT5 for tag and shifter racing, the Black Mirror for cadet competition, and the FS4 for Briggs. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. For more information on the CRG product line, head to kartcrgusa.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrgusa. All right, David Cole, let's start this week off with a new edition of This Week in Karting. Our last show was just a couple of weeks ago on August the 26th, so a little better here in terms of coming back around the corner with another This Week in Karting. And timely, to be honest. I know you and I were busting it last week. There was a bunch of stuff going on in the industry, first and foremost. Big news as Ryan Norberg, first and foremost, electing to back away from full-time competition. He will still be racing, but full-time competition no longer the focus for Norberg. And first of the news that dropped, David, was the fact that he ended, at least a mutual ending of the relationship between Ryan and the Rawlson Performance Group.
Yeah, let's just start by that. The partnership of Ryan Norberg and Rawlson Performance Group has come to an end. That was the announcement made. That partnership began back in the 2019 season and has been essentially the benchmark in North American karting for the last 6 years. Yeah. So that was some major news. So, we're getting that, we'll look at the stats here real quick, 3 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour titles, including, that was just Ryan driving himself, but also including Bryson Morris and Hannah Greenmeyer winning in 2020 and 2021 as part of RPG, which Ryan Norberg was a big part of. He was the Super Nationals 21 winner, won 3 SuperKarts USA Winter Series titles between 2019 and 2021, 4 USPKS titles between 21 and 2025. So, and then a Rock Vegas winner as well in 2022. So those stats alone, and again, that's only part of his CV, if his resume.
It's amazing, isn't it? Again, legendary status for sure. I think I wrote in a Facebook post that I made that he's a future Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that. He's obviously one of the best we've ever seen. And it's generationally, you don't want to, people bring up other names and people talk about, the GOAT. Is Ryan the best there's ever been in American karting? But then you go back to the Lynn Haddocks and the Lake Speeds. And listen, there's been some amazing drivers throughout the years. So throughout the history of karting. So we're not going to compare generations. But David, this generation, he's the absolute best.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You look at basketball, you got the Michael Jordan era, you got the Kobe Bryant era, you got the LeBron James era, but there was also the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar era. There was also the Wilt Chamberlain era. There was the Bill Russell era. So the Jerry West era, we could go on and on. So again, it's very tough to put, especially, you look at that sport. The physical attributes of athletes has changed from the Bill Russell days to today. You look at motorsports, the equipment and the genre has changed from the Lynn Haddock to the Lake Speeds to today. It's a lot different. It's not it's the same karting sport that they were part of. It's much different. So yes, no doubt. When you say greatest of this generation is not a far-fetched term for Ryan Norberg, but yes, it's very tough to say, he's the best of all time.
Yeah, and again, you think
most
about
decorated. You could say the most decorated.
That's well, he's got a resume as you've just rolled through. But listen, it's 7 years of racing with Rawlson Performance Group, right, from 2019 on. Some of those legends were 20 years and kept rolling. But let's move away from that, Dave, and just go into the.
I don't want to.
I'm not going all the way away from it. I'm saying we'll celebrate the partnership with Norberg and Rawlson Performance Group, right? RPG, those colors on Ryan's kart have just been. That when you rolled into a race, anywhere, regional, national, international, like with the Supernats, whatever it may be, that Ryan was one of the guys, probably the guy you had to beat coming into any weekend. So I'm just throwing it together that obviously this is coming to an end. Ryan's going off in a different direction, as everybody knows now that you've seen on the website through social media. We'll dive into his new partnership with GFC Karting. But just to kind of put a cap on it, just an unbelievable partnership. In my mind, probably the 30 years I've been doing this, I don't know there's been one that's had the kind of impact of Norberg and Rawlson Performance Group.
Well, it's been a major impact because you look at the results in terms of drivers rolling through that program with Ryan Norberg there as well. Because again, Ryan's been a big part of the driver development within the Rawlson Performance Group tent. So that's a big part. You look at Ernesto Rivera, who's, winning in Europe right now in car racing. Nate Cicero is a driver who came up through RPGs, now into IMSA racing, being a winner there. Yeah. Lots, there's a long list. Caleb Gaffera, a long list. Hayden Jones, he's been the biggest Ryan Norberg supporter for sure. Yeah. So again, that's the kind of unseen
the effect he had on the whole program.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. To the full race team program.
Yeah, this wasn't just Ryan Norberg being the number one driver for Rawlson Performance Group. He was a key integral part of that coaching staff and just everything that Rawlson was. So, and indeed, it's kind of developed over the years. Mike Rawlson's done a great job bringing other coaches in. He's got a lot of fantastic people at that program, and of course, Rawlson Performance Group, as we know, isn't gonna let up at all with this the end of this partnership. They'll just keep hammering forward. They've got great drivers under the tent, and we'll look to do more through Rock Vegas and of course the Supernatural at the end of this year, then through 2026. But again, that ending that partnership. But David, only a couple of days later, and things were happening very quickly, and you and I were doing the best we can. You obviously rocked that, making sure the news went out correctly in timely pattern, working with Ryan, working with Mike Rawlson, working with Gary Carlton, because the next news that hit was that GFC and the Norberg Karting Academy, Ryan's racing school, racing academy based out of Orlando, that he's worked on for the last number of years. They've announced a strategic partnership, obviously one that couldn't come through Rawlson Performance Group because first and foremost, David, Norberg Karting Academy and Ryan Norberg become the new GFC Southeast distributor. So getting more deeply into the industry, almost honestly kart shop, but karting operation side, as opposed to just an academy for driver development.
Well, I think he tried being a race promoter and didn't like that.
He did try that. That's right.
No, but yeah, it's we were, before the GFC news came forward, we thought, this was the end of Ryan Norberg competing. And in all honesty, we weren't sure, we thought the focus was going to be primarily on becoming the focusing on that Norberg Academy program. Yeah. So to see, this news kind of changed everything in terms of looking at it with moving away from OTK. That's a big, he's been there. That was his first Superkarts USA Pro Tour Championship was with OTK before moving to PSL Karting, Burrell Art, and picking up 2. And then from 20, as we talked about, 2019 to present with RPG being on OTK. So yeah, it's a great combination when you look at it, because Gary Carlton was that generational driver at his time as one of the best. Yes, he didn't do single speed stuff, but at shifter karts, when that was the headline division here in the United States, he was the guy. That was kind of the the benchmark for how, going over and racing overseas. Now that's
100%.
something Ryan Norberg didn't quite do, but in terms of generational talent, like that was kind of it. They're kind of the combination. And so to see this, being both industry wide side of it with the GFC coming to Florida under the Norberg Karting Academy program, but also Norberg getting in the seat of the GFC kart is just something that it was not on my bingo card.
No, that's not. Well, obviously, when we initially heard about this, and we're talking to Mike and Ryan, the feeling, at least what was delivered to us early, especially through Mike Rawlson, was that, hey, he's going to retire and go on to do, again, like as you said, focus on the Karting Academy. But yeah, he now becomes the Southeast distributor rather for GFC. He also becomes, they're naming it the GFC Director of Driver Development and Product Strategy. He will be the lead single-speed driver for GFC in the 125cc liquid-cooled categories. Rock Vegas, SCUSA Super Nationals, single-speed, pardon me, yeah. Rock Vegas, SCUSA Super Nationals. And Ryan, put it out there on social media, and he said it to us as well. This is select races. Remember, he's got a kid. He's got a child his first child on the way, married now. So it seemed in all the conversations I had in the communications we had with Ryan, it was, hey, I might do probably the SCUSA Pro Tour. I'll do the Super Nats. We'll see what Ryan ends up doing, but it's going to be select races, not a full schedule in 2026.
Yeah, you're not going to see him at the Winter Series racing. You're not going to see him at Florida Winter Tour racing. You're not going to see him probably at USPKS defending that title. Again, he's going to be more focused on the industry side of things, but he will be behind the wheel. No, very similar to what we see with the Formal situation in GFC.
Yep.
Danny Formal jumps in the cart whenever he can to be part of that program and is the Costa Rican distributor for GFC brands. So it's a very similar situation in terms of that. So yeah, but it's just the fact of seeing Ryan Norberg in a GFC suit and kart at the end of in October and November is going to be quite interesting. And yeah, I would say he's probably going to try the Pro Tour at least be that
he may have posted, David, on social that I think he might be doing the SCUSA Winter Series as well. To be honest, I think I saw that on his own social.
I think he just kept saying select races, so I don't think he put any commitment down in terms of that. But again, it's something that until it happens, we don't know. And again, things could change because, again, like you said, his family life is going to be changing quite drastically come this month. I think she's due this month.
It's coming. It's coming soon.
The baby's coming. So yeah, the first couple of months you feel things out. It's no different than a new kart, and we'll see come January. Things could change in terms of GFC's outlook in terms of getting him behind the wheel more, or if they're happy with just whenever and wherever he wants to. Because again, I think their focus is brand awareness and getting that brand out to different areas of the country. Because as we've seen, the shifter side of things, it's doing well. They got the Texas dealership. They've got obviously all the events they go to in California. They're building that Northwest program with Wicked Racing being the Northwest distributor. Obviously, Formula Works, the Southwest distributor. So again, I think it's more about what's good for the brand. I think that's kind of their focus. I don't think Ryan has anything to prove. And so I don't think he has the desire to go out and race races that he doesn't want to race.
Well, here's the thing, David. First and foremost, this is a pivot that puts him into a more stable position for a long-term in the industry, right? You're only going to be able to race at the top level for so long. Getting into this level of the industry now, all of a sudden he has stability for his family, for his life, for his karting academy, for everything moving forward, getting into that side of the industry. So I think you're 100% right on the GFC side. The distributorship down in Florida is massive. We know how big of a area of the sport that is down in Florida. You want to have a distributor there to be able to set dealers up throughout Florida now, which is going to be huge for GFC. But again, I think moving forward for Ryan, this is a fantastic move. I will say this, looking at his social media from September 4th, he says in stars at select events, he goes, super excited to be able to run the GFC brand with my Norberg Karting Academy at the SCUSA Winter Series, other winter events, and most East Coast races. So whether or not that's him driving or his team, whatever,
Right.
because I know that a lot of, as you mentioned, the drivers that he has that are academy drivers will not be competing under that Norberg GFC banner. Just big news. Like, to be honest, the funny thing, you talked about the colors, Dave, to see him in the GFC colors. It's because I'm making the connection because I spent so much time in the IndyCar world. This is like Will Power going from Penske to Andretti.
Well, I mean, it happened all at the same time too,
Right?
and that's the crazy part of it. I mean, yeah, Will Power is synonymous with Penske Racing and has 100%. Been, and yeah, so to see that change, no different than a Tony Stewart, moving to his own race team. Yep. Essentially, is kind of what Ryan Norberg's doing. He's moving to his own race team with a brand that he's going to be able to work with and help grow. So yeah, it's wild to see this happening. So the Norberg is very similar to the Penske news that did happen with Will Power. There was something else I was going to say. Now I lost it.
You hold on. Here's it'll come back here. But for me as an announcer, I haven't talked to Xander about it yet. But man, we're gonna have to pick up. Like, you're used to what Norberg looks like on the racetrack. You know what I mean? Like, now I got to pick up a white and black. This is messing.
Well, luckily helmets, he'll probably keep the same colors. Maybe, I don't know, but we'll see. That'll be quite interesting. No, I was going to compare. I remember now. I was kind of comparing to, you were talking about making that transition from driver to industry member. Yeah. No different than what the driver he used to be chasing, Brandon Jarzakrak, has been able to do. So, we've seen, Brandon excel over the last couple of years of building his race team to what is now one of the top teams in the country. And so, I think that's something that Norberg's kind of seen. He's obviously seen the inner workings of RPG, so he knows what works and what doesn't work in terms of that big team aspect. So we'll see, if he's gonna keep it, keep it lower and, a couple drivers here, a couple drivers there. But that's the thing, I think, with this partnership in terms of the GFC brand, he's going to allow drivers to come from wherever to come race with him at the events that he's doing, where he can send his drivers with Formula Works or Wicked Racing. Yeah. I think that's kind of the core of this whole program, is being able to work with one another. And getting, if a driver wants to go that way, Norberg doesn't have to haul all his stuff out that way, or Formula Works, when they come out this way without the full GFC program, they crate stuff and they work with a dealer over here. So now they have the ability, Formula Works does, to send their drivers to either with Norberg Academy or with a dealer up in the Wisconsin area, like they did for Road America. Yep. So I think that's more of a network goal that Garrett Carlton's been really working to try and fill, because there really hasn't been that Florida component of that network that they do.
Yeah, again, that's big on so many levels, not just for Ryan, but for Gary and the whole GFC brand as well. So that was the big news from last week, but there was a lot more news coming in terms of events and series as well. So when we get back after this break, we'll talk about a new owner for the Route 66 Sprint Series.
Ever dream of competing in an international race against the best drivers in the world? This is your chance. The 2025 Rotax Racing Club California Championship Series, operated by Formula KFX, is an official qualifying event for the new Rotax Racing Club International Finals. The winner of the California Championship Series will receive a free spot in the 2026 International Finals event in Belgium. Your journey to the world stage begins in Sonoma, California on September 20th. Additional rounds of competition will take place on October 11th, November 15th, and December 13th at Sonoma Raceway Karting Center. Juniors, seniors, and masters drivers will battle it out in equally prepared Burrell Art N35X chassis karts with Rotax 125 Junior Max Evo engines. Secure your spot today in the Rotax Racing Club California Championship Series. Register at formulakfx.com/championship.
Welcome to AIM Sports and the groundbreaking Micron 6 karting data logger. Since its inception, AIM Sports has been at the forefront of motorsport technology, revolutionizing how racers gather data. From its early days, AIM has tailored its innovations to provide precise insights, allowing racers to fine-tune their strategies and push their limits. Fast forward to today, and we're excited to celebrate 30 years of Micron by introducing the latest evolution in karting data loggers, the Micron 6. Designed with cutting-edge features, including 25Hz GPS with mil-spec precision, a 6-axis inertial platform, shift lights and alarms, temperature inputs, and a host of wired and wireless expansions. With 2 CAN buses, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, it's perfect for karting enthusiasts looking to enhance their game on the track. With its advanced suite of sensors, high-speed data acquisition, and easy-to-use interface, the Micron 6 delivers unparalleled performance on track. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this powerful tool helps you analyze every turn, every lap, even every heartbeat. Imagine a tool that not only records your lap times, but also analyzes parameters like speed, tire temperature, driver inputs, and engine performance. With the Micron 6, you'll gain insights that can shave seconds off your times and elevate your skills behind the wheel. Don't just drive, be data-driven. Join the AIM Sports community today and equip yourself with the Micron 6 to take your karting experience to the next level. Visit aimsports.com to learn more. AIM Sports, 30 years of Micron.
Welcome back to episode number 89 of This Week in Karting. It is September 8th, 2025. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, bringing you all the news that made its way to the EKN homepage over the last couple of weeks. Let's start out with the big news coming out last week, and it was about the Route 66 Sprint Series. Only a handful of years ago, Chris Kardashian retired from his job and decided that he wanted to pick up the Route 66 Sprint Series after hounding Mark Coates for a couple of years to sell it to him. Kardashian bought that series, did a bunch to it. It's become a fantastic series. They've increased the average entry from around 133 to 170 entries per weekend. Chris put his mark on the series, no doubt about that, looking at family fun, respectful racing. That was kind of his push the entire time. But David, earlier this year, brought on Tim Coyan to help out on the operations and management side. In the end, Tim Coyan, who is no longer with the USPKS, has purchased the Route 66 Sprint Series, new owner for 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, quite an interesting move. Coyan's been a part of Midwest karting for decades now. You go back to the Midwest Sprint Series that he was part of. You're working with Route 66 previously, obviously USPKS as well too. He's gun ho on being part of karting industry side of things for the long term. Also used to be the owner of Kartlift as well. Yeah. So Tim's done all different types of aspects in the sport, announcing, a karting dad, all of it. There isn't anything else that he really hasn't done. I think he's even driven karts as well back in the day when he was a bit younger. So it's a quite interesting move. Kardashian taking over in 2021. So it was a 4-season run for him. Again, something new and something different for him. He as well came in as a karting dad, essentially a dealer in the Minnesota area. So he had a little bit of the industry knowledge, kind of knew from that side of things what he liked and didn't like about a karting series, and was able to kind of implement that with that new tenure as the owner of Route 66 Sprint Series. And so now it's going over to Tim Coyan. He obviously has all that background. I think he kind of wants to continue the family fun type atmosphere that Kardashian really focused on. And again, the great thing about the Midwest is a lot of racetracks here that to work with, and talking with drivers, the 2026 schedule is pretty solid. So
yeah, well, I'll say this: let's not go too deep into this, only because I'm working on a Fast 5 interview right now with Tim Coyan that we'll have out this week. We're working on that right now. Hopefully, have that done in the next couple of days. So yeah, we'll get some actual input straight from Tim, David, based on that. But very excited about the whole program. A new chapter in his life. Both he and Chris lost their wives, so that's kind of one of the things they had in common, and obviously a sad connection to have. But Tim looking for his next chapter in his life, and hey, you know what? I want to run my own series. I want to own my own series. Route 66 was there. The timing was perfect. So there'll be some fresh blood, some fresh ideas, very likely moving forward. But again, that Fast Five I'm working on with Tim, I think it's going to give us a lot of insight into how his mindset will be moving into 2026.
Yeah, I'm excited to read that and get more info because I haven't talked to Tim yet about any of this. So it will be.
It was a busy week last week, Dave.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a busy week. So, but again, a great schedule. Looks a great schedule with great racetracks in 2026 coming. So excited to see that.
Let's go to the another program, the Rotax Racing Club. We're actually working with the Rotax Racing Club out in California. We've got something coming on Wednesday, a new face-to-face with the Formula KFX people. So that'll be interesting. That's a program that gets run out at Sonoma. But David, let's talk about the fact that this program, which came to us through the knowledge of this new California program, has really started to kind of can't look at the word, but it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, steamroll, if you will. Now a new Rotax Racing Club International Final program coming.
Yeah, this isn't something new. It's kind of been going on in the UK specifically in terms of arrive and drive programs for Rotax racing, and so that's kind of what it's been. And the new Formula KFX program here in the United States is established the Rotax Racing Club California program. Yep. Right now focused at Sonoma Raceway. And so they created that at this about midway through this year. They've already had 2 kind of launch events, and then they're going to roll into a championship program that's going to basically run from September to December. And they're going to be one of the qualifiers for this new Rotax Racing Club International Finals that will run in 2026. So quite a unique deal. Again, it's arrive and drive where you can bring your own safety gear or you take theirs, however it is, focused around drivers 13 and older. But again, a new way of bringing people into the sport because, again, the arrive and drive platform where you don't have to put that initial cost in and even with safety gear as well, too. So unique, different. I believe all the karts are the Brill Art brand. So yeah. I know they are here in the U.S. I'm pretty sure they are at the international final as well. I forgot to check on that part. But very, very cool to kind of see it, as you said, blossoming and expanding into this now international event, which will be May 29th through the 30th at Karting Genk in Belgium.
Yeah, Dave, we always talk about, removing the barrier of entry, right? Making it easier for people to get into the sport. The initial cost outlay, the capital investment to jump into the sport, even at the 206 level, you're dropping pretty big money to get a turnkey 206 and all the ancillary parts, card stand, tools. We know how much it takes. So this kind of a program, very similar to the easy entry for someone going to a K1 speed or an indoor kart track somewhere. This is, of course, more of a focused motorsport competition as opposed to just running at your indoor kart track. So again, anything that makes it easier for people to get into the sport, I think is a great thing. We talked about the fact that we'll sit down with the proponents at the Rotax Racing Club California, formerly KFX, on Wednesday evening. We have a face-to-face lining up. We'll look for more information on that coming out on ekartingnews.com and through our social media. As David said, they have 4 races here in the fall section, the Q4 of the year, September 20th, October 11th, November 15th, and December 13th. Once a month, they'll get together at Sonoma Raceway to go racing. So lots more information to come about the Rotax Racing Club International Finals, May 29 to 30 in Genk, as David mentioned. Lots of great stuff going on. And David, let's talk a little bit here about the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals because a new co-presenting sponsor coming on board.
Yeah, the Toyota Gazoo Racing North America GR Cup is joining Odenthal Racing Products as the co-presenting sponsor of the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9. That'll be September 24th through the 28th at the Newcastle Motorsports Park in Newcastle, Indiana. So the GR Cup, a newer sports car program working with the Toyota Racing development program here in the United States. A lot of karters are part of this new sports car program that's been racing around. And I believe Weston Workman is the newly crowned champion for 2025. So a former club racer at Trackhouse Motorplex, a former regional and national racer at junior, senior levels in karting. So great to see Workman get that honor, earn that title in 2025.
David, Nitro Motorsports involved in that program as well.
Yeah, Nitro Motorsports part of it. So yeah, there's a lot of connections between karting and this program. Nothing really official in terms of like that racer development. There is in Nitro Motorsports, obviously, with Nitro Kart, and there are many facets now in terms of car racing with trucks, Xfinity, ARCA, Trans-Am. Yeah, lots of different branches under the Nitro Motorsports tree for sure. But the connection, not only branding obviously for the GR Cup, but they are providing the top 3 finishers in senior light and senior medium at the Grand Nationals 9 to be invited to the GR Cup Racer Camp. Now, this is a 3-day training experience hosted by Toyota Racing Development in Mooresville, North Carolina. Again, that's where the factory, the drivers, Toyota Racing Development drivers, actually go and train and work out to get their bodies prepped and ready for competition. So this is a unique and exclusive kind of experience for karters to be able to take part in this unique 3-day training experience. So very cool prize. Obviously, Odenthal Racing Products providing a lot of product for the Grand Nationals 9, where they give tons and tons of stuff away all weekend long. So I'm sure you'll see Odenthal Racing Products, not only products given away, but you maybe see some of the dignitaries of ORP there as well on the weekend. So
we're about 2 weeks away, folks, from the Outlap, a preview podcast for the upcoming Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9. David, 516 entries you've got down here as of this morning.
That's what we see online. So 516, we saw the senior medium category get to 100 drivers right now. So I don't think we quite got there last year. So this is possibly, a new record. I'm pulling up the 2024 numbers right now. So we had the 104 in senior light last year, where medium was at 104. So we did get 104 in both senior light and senior medium. So we got 2 more weeks, so that number could rise. So we could get record numbers in those categories for sure. So overall, it was 585. That was the total we calculated. Obviously, they had different figures because they still claim that there was over 600 entries, but I don't count cancellations. So
you don't. All right. So there you have it, folks. Toyota Gazoo Racing North America, the GR Cup, co-presenting sponsor of this year's Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9. After the quick break, we come back. We'll go over some of the EKN editorial that made its way to the homepage over the last couple of weeks. Are you planning to challenge yourself at this year's SuperKarts USA Winter Nationals at Speed Sports in March? If so, get prepared by joining the premier regional kart racing series in Texas, in Houston, on the February 21 to 23 weekend. It's the first event of this year's Texas Sprint Racing Series, and it kicks off their 5-race schedule that travels all over Texas and Louisiana. Trips to the Amarillo Kart Circuit, Kart Moto, NOLA Motorsports Park, and the Dallas Karting Complex complete our calendar, and we're excited to welcome all of our racers back to the track. After the Speed Sports opener in February, the Texas Sprint Race Series returns to the Amarillo Kart Circuit for a weekend of night racing on May 30 to June 1. This track is based on the F1 circuit in Turkey, and the ownership continues to make improvements to the special facility. The TSRS will make its second trip to the Kart Moto facility in Crescent, Texas on July 18 to 20, and then round 4 is set for NOLA Motorsports Park on September 19 to 21. This year's championship finale will be held at the Dallas Karting Complex on October 17 to 19. Don't miss any of the action. Details on the rules and class structure, along with the list of the full championship prize package for the official SuperKarts USA and International Kart Federation Series can be found at TexasSprintSeries.com. History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided karts parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Welcome back to episode number 89 of This Week in Karting into September, 9th month of the year, rolling our way through to the end of Q3 up into Q4 to cap off with, obviously, as we know, major events coming around the corner here for all the major platforms. David, let's have a look at some of the editorial that you were able to put together. I know that you were trackside for one of the events. We got a race report from the West Coast, a little bit of a product spotlight as well.
Yeah, product spotlight. A new one came out in the last couple of weeks with Precision Karting Technologies, their Rotax flywheel tool. If you're looking to work on your clutch, you got to hold that flywheel still. This is the tool to have. Any Rotax racer out there should definitely get a hold of this tool to be able to work on the clutch, work on the engine, period. So great little tool that they have. They have a lot of different Rotax tools available through Precision Karting Technologies website. And of course, we've a lot of other products from kid carts all the way to full-size shifter carts as well. So
love it. We obviously keep an eye on the SuperKarts USA Pro Kart Challenge out in California. Race report coming from Sonoma as well, Dave.
Sonoma, yeah, the program, SuperKarts USA is first time back since 2017 to Sonoma Raceway. So it was a long period between races. The last one was I believe, Spring Nationals. In 2017. So yeah, I believe you recall that weekend.
What happened on 2017?
No, I was just saying that was last time you were there.
Oh yes, I thought you were throwing something big at me. I think Braden Eves came away with a big victory, if I'm not mistaken. I see that one pop up every once in a while.
It's on YouTube. It is on YouTube. We have the onboard footage from that.
That one pops up in my 4-year
Nitro Kart picking up some of its first ever Pro Tour victories with Sebastian NG as well. So a little full circle when we're talking about Nitro Kart.
No doubt. Good man.
Yeah. That weekend or this past time, Pro Kart Challenge highlighted by a 5th straight victory for Keegan Kaminsky in KA 100 Senior.
Badass. Impressive. David, double duty weekend for you on Labor Day weekend as well. An EKN trackside coverage of the Rock Island Grand Prix. You also had a chance to run in 3 of the Margate Ignite classes. You're actually running in that lead pack, and I was hoping you were going to surprise me with a victory, but nonetheless, you got yourself beat up a little bit. You get a lot of coverage. You stayed up late. Good old-fashioned old Rock Island.
The pain is still with me, even though it's been a week. The right rib is just in not a lot of pain, but
I wish I was there.
It comes and goes.
I was there to give you a couple of shots in that.
I don't know what it was, but Saturday, my daughter kind of like sat on me, like goofing off, and it hurt so bad. Pain. So I'm not as young as I used to be, but yeah,
it just feels good. It feels good to be that you're now, because you bark on me all the time for being old, and now like you're like still 10 years younger than me. And you're starting to get into that place now. You're like, well, maybe I shouldn't have beat on Rob when he was in his mid-40s.
No, I'm stupid because I don't wear a rib tech or rib vest. So I now that I'm at this age, I do need. That's something that you were smart of.
Stilo carbon curva. I love that thing.
I probably should get one.
I love it. Yeah,
I need to get one of those.
And I wore rib tech for many years as well. And I love the rib tech too. So it's always worked for me.
Anyway,
especially Rock Island.
Nobody wants to hear me whine, but Rock Island, 30th edition, full race report online. Again, multiple Rock winners from that weekend.
Vintage kart badasses were out there as well. I love seeing that.
Lots of different things. So make sure you check out all that editorial on the website.
All right, folks, another break. We come back. We'll dive back into the hot topics. There's a lot going on in the sport right now. David and I are going to chat a little bit about some stuff going on with the FIA and an event that we saw this past weekend at the Champions of the Future in Denmark. From Florida to California to Las Vegas, it's time to rock. The 2025 season for rockers begins in the Sunshine State as Rock Cup USA hosts the 27th edition of the Florida Winter Tour. The championship is underway, having welcomed competitors to the Orlando Kart Center over the January 17 to 19 weekend for round one of the title chase. Rockers return to the Orlando, Florida facility for round two of the championship on the February 14 to 16 weekend. For the first time in series history, the Florida Winter Tour will host an event outside the state, expanding its reach into Texas. The March 21 to 23 weekend is the date for the series finale at the popular Speed Sports Racing Park in New Caney, Texas. Be part of history as the Florida Winter Tour goes to the Lone Star State. Looking ahead, mark down the year-end celebration with the annual Rock Vegas event, set for October 29th to November 2nd at the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino. Visit rockcupusa.com for all the details and information surrounding the Florida Winter Tour, Rock Vegas, and more. For over 90 years, DID has been the leading manufacturer for high-quality on- and off-road chain use. DID has been chosen by the top powersport athletes from all over the world and is continuing to grow every day. From the karting track or your off-road adventures to your long street bike trips, DID has a chain to fit your needs. Their kart chain lineup offers variations of chains from high-performance sealed chains to the industry-leading non-sealed 219 HTZ chain. The DID SDH pin treatment is the unique design that allows for a lighter chain for less rotational mass, while still keeping a high tensile strength for peak performance. If you're in the need for a high-quality chain, DID has a chain for all makes and models. With our cutting-edge chain lineup, take your ride to the next level with DID. Visit didchain.com to find a dealer near you. Back at it here with This Week in Karting, episode number 89, September 8th, 2025. Rob Howard and David Cole diving in here in the EKN online studio to jump into our What's Hot section, the latest topics in the sport of karting. And David, both of you and I saw it. T-Kart posted a picture, some photos of a new FIA Safety Department rear wheel protection concept. We shared T-Karts on our social media. The comments blew up. Where do you want to start with this?
Where do I start? Well,
describe it first.
The first comment I'm reading is Danny Formal. This is the most stupid invention I have ever seen. So for those haven't seen it, that's kind of the audio version of it. What it looks like is it looks like the rear wheel guard that IndyCar used to run. Yeah. Now, remember, we still have the full bumper. So it's between the rear tire and the rear bumper. It's just a lot of plastic. And it's
like a half a wheel well, right? The back half of the wheel well. It's weird.
Yeah, like I said, it's the rear wheel guard. Like you literally could have taken that, what IndyCar used to run. They don't do it anymore, but what they used to have behind the rear tire, and you put it behind a kart tire. It's just... I understand the need and the wants to improve safety and make things safer for drivers, but motorsports essentially is inherently dangerous, and I think that's part of it. Even rental karts can be dangerous with full bumpers, full everything on. Yeah. It just I don't see the necessity for this. And
seeing as we have the full width rear bumper already. Agreed.
Well, and again, I think they're still trying to protect you from driving over a rear wheel. It's going to happen. And then the way they made this, it extends outside the rear tire, so you could get hooked on somebody again with this contraption that you're putting on a cart. And again, that we're getting away from what karting is. Karting is an open wheel program, no different than any car. Finally got smart and they were like, we don't need this rear wheel protection program. It's just more money to spend on carbon fiber. Well, this is more money to spend on plastic
and weight.
I'm sorry.
And weight. It's going to be heavier again.
Well, yeah, then that's going to hamper the actual 20-year-old drivers that are trying to race okay and okay. It's just I wish they would take the time, and the U.S. is no stranger to this. We again need a sanctioning body doing this. We need to look at making racetracks safer and safer ways of building racetracks and those barriers that are protecting that, because contact's going to happen no matter what, and this contraption is not going to save anyone. I'm sorry. I don't see where the data is on this. Yes, it might stop a nose from hitting a tire. I don't know, but it could still do it. I don't know.
A couple of my thoughts here. First and foremost, it just reeks. This just reeks of somebody who doesn't race go-karts or has never raced go-karts, thinking that they can come in and protect the karters and kart racers from the sport in and of itself. Because, as you said, it's open wheel racing. That's first and foremost. The karting has always been open wheel racing. That's what it is. We've leaned away with it with the full width front bumper. Then we've got the full width rear bumper. So essentially the wheels are no longer out in the open, right? We've done everything we need to do. Every more piece of plastic makes the cars heavier and heavier. So the trade-off now is if you ever did go over, you have a heavier cart landing on top of you, which is something we don't want, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's where you can make it safer. Like Cup Karts North America is a great example. There's no reason for us to be at 390 pounds. It's just, the weights need to be lowered. If the cart is lighter, it's better.
Agreed. And the other thing that the issue is that as you lean towards adding the safety, then you're also eliminating and decreasing danger is not the word. The respect that drivers need to have on the racetrack. We see this, David, and we talked all about it. Everybody does. People drive like animals now because of the pushback front bumper, fantastic for starts. With all the bumpers we have around the racetrack right now, people are driving like they're bumper cars. And the more you drive like bumper cars, the worse it's going to be. And that's what's going to roll us into the next one. Because the next thing that happened when we talk about the championship of the future had nothing to do with the rear bumper at all. But you know what I mean, David? Like when we start making the carts safer and safer and safer in terms of not being able to hook a wheel or drive over top of somebody, then you're going to have these kids driving like, or not even kids, you're going to have karters driving like absolute idiots out there.
Well, it's mostly kids. Again, that's FIA.
It still happens in masters racing.
Yeah, but their focus is on kids. Really, it's what it is. And the chest protectors have been probably the most innovative and best product we've had in terms of safety because of contact. Any type of incident, the chest protector is there to protect the body, including the rib protector as well. So I think that's key. And of course, again, here in the U.S., we need to make sure that drivers have the right safety gear on. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest problems we have. We've seen helmets flying off in incidents, and like, how can that even be possible? So that's the part that I track safety and driver safety in terms of the actual products they are wearing is where I think more money should be spent and more attention given rather than trying to make the carts heavier and look more like rental carts that you run at the indoor track.
Yeah, you're right. Newish or new helmets. Like, make sure your helmet's not old enough. Make sure that they look at the straps on it. Make sure drivers are wearing karting suits, not car racing suits. There's certain things you can do that are just going to be able to help that for sure. Now, David, let's transition into
the last part of this. It is rumored to be tested at the FIA Karting World Cup in Cremona, Italy in September with the Academy Trophy Junior Division, according to T-Kart. So we do have a USA driver that is part of the Academy Trophy Junior. We're actually working on the last driver diary he made, Gage Corn. So the final round will be at the World Cup here coming up in a couple weeks. So and we're waiting. We haven't heard anything from FIA. Again, this all came out on Friday from T-Kart. So we're still waiting for the official wording from FIA, if this is even a thing, if this is going to happen, what the future is. So still kind of limbo in this. It did spark up a lot of social media interest for sure.
Yeah. So let's see what happens, right, David? If and when it hits the ground, there's going to be a lot of chatter for sure. Most of you in the karting world very likely saw what happened at the Champions of the Future event in Denmark this past weekend. A driver actually disqualified from that event. Contact between two drivers, Roman Kanyab and Matthew Higgins. Dave, one of the heat races in the OK category. Let's kind of have a look at that a little bit. Get your thoughts.
Yeah, Kanyab turned left into Higgins on the straightaway on lap 2 of this heat race. It was all on video, and Champions of the Future actually shared the incident on their social media feed. So they used the broadcast capture of the incident, where you see Kanyab on the inside of Higgins going down the straightaway. Higgins gave him the signal, go forward, and Kanyab's wheel, literally you see, is torn to the left towards Higgins. They make contact. Higgins gets the worst of it as he kind of spins around on the straightaway, gets hit by another cart, essentially is a rag doll in the cart as it's spinning off the racetrack, runs into thankfully had barriers around it, the corner worker station, which had barriers around it, hit that. So multiple hits. Not sure on the type of injuries he had. He was up and alert. I'm assuming probably a concussion from the impact of hitting the barriers. I maybe had a bloody mouth or bloody nose, not sure, but he withdrew from the rest of the event for obviously the injury sustained. Kanyab was disqualified from the event. So shockingly, European officials actually laying down the hammer, which we typically don't see. Higgins was actually part of that Rotax Grand Finals situations that happened in the senior main event, where guys were cutting the racetrack and causing some mischief. Yeah. So again, a very unique situation, all captured on film. So that was good. So we all got to see it. Obviously, Kanyab went to social media, apologized for his actions. The 15-year-old said he did not mean for this to happen. But the way most people are calling it on social media, it's the quote unquote Euro swerve. You're going down the straightaway and he turned left into Higgins. And so, hopefully this is kind of a focal point for we're starting to do it here in the United States with Superkarts USA, USPKS. I don't know about other programs, but they are looking at, removing this type of move where guys are trying to pod one another down the straightaway to slow somebody's pace. And so hopefully this is kind of looked at more and intensively across the world, and especially in Europe.
Well, David, Kanyab in his social media posts talks about the fact that motorsport is very fast, a dangerous sport with split-second decisions that need to be made. And he said he did not make the right one. Well, again, this is where you and I talked about this before. Where it kind of hits me a little bit is that, there's no doubt about it. It is split-second decisions. In the moment of a split-second decision, you go. It's who you are as a driver and your thought on what racing is and racecraft is. Your basic beliefs in how to drive. When you're making a split-second decision, this is what I've either been taught to do or my belief. If one of your core beliefs is I'm going to try to wreck somebody, that's where an issue is. So Kanyab, his split-second decision was, I'm going to drive this guy off the racetrack. So that's the issue right there. And I think you got to go to everybody around Roman, whoever his coaches are, that everybody's got to sit down and understand, for any racer that does that. Again, you've talked about the fact that the Euro Swerve, the race directors now here in the U.S. are really dropping the hammer on it. Dave, I've watched a lot of your coverage. I've watched some of the stuff, of course, on Kart Chaser, and the guys are getting disqualified from events and getting disqualified from specific races, individual races, because of this. But it comes down to that mindset where that's okay. And this is where it needs to get changed. In a split-second decision, you can't choose violence, because that's now the default concept. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it goes to the bump and run type. Where's the limit? The bump and run. We've had this discussion previous shows. Is I like the bump and run as long as you're not putting somebody in danger or endangering yourself, and a little bit of contact isn't bad in the corner, but going down the straightaway and slamming into somebody it's just not right. And as you said, it's a form of violence rather than a strategy in terms of racing someone.
Yeah, and listen, again, we'll give Roman his due there. He obviously apologized on social media. We'll see if that changes his moving forward. Hopefully it will. Hopefully it'll send a message to more people throughout the sport as well. And Roman put that in his message where he really hoped that other people would see this and be able to kind of take this and learn from it as well. So hopefully other young drivers will see that he made that mistake and that moving forward, that, that's something that is not going to be condoned or allowed. And I like the fact, as David, you had said, that the race officials actually removed him from the entire event. That's what had to happen with that kind of an event, that kind of a move, that kind of an approach to racecraft. You have to drop the hammer on it quickly so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and it's, we've seen this before where a driver threw a nose cone at oncoming carts. Yeah. That's happened before. We've seen fighting in the scales happen before. So we're always in motorsports. We're always going to have these type of situations where we got to review things, and it's kind of a reminder. Hey, choose your options wisely. Try and make better decisions. And again, we're all human. We make mistakes, and
Very
unfortunately, he made a mistake. And as you said, he can learn from it, move forward, and hopefully become make less decisions in that direction.
And hopefully those split decisions lean towards a more positive focus, right? And then we wish the best for all those guys that are involved in that incident. All right, folks, final break in the action. When we get back, David will tell us a little bit about the podcast. And we'll let you know what's coming here on ekartingnews.com. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is SodiKart. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to a new exclusive importer, the karting distribution led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer SodiKart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers products in classes from mini karts to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has expanded its dealer network over the last year, bringing the Sodi brand to several local clubs and regional programs. Sodi USA by Velocity Racing is the official race team in the United States for the brand, hitting all the major events and series throughout the season. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Sodi Kart chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodi Kart, the world leader in the karting industry. "2025 is shaping up to be another historic season for SuperKarts USA. A record-setting turnout competed at the 8th year of the SuperKarts USA Winter Series, including the largest non-Super Nationals event ever for the organization in January. Champions were crowned at the February event, setting the stage for the transition to the SCUSA Pro Tour. This year's Pro Tour is set to visit 3 different states from March to July. SCUSA made its Pro Tour debut in the Lone Star State with the Winter Nationals, held in March at the Speed Sports Racing Park in New Caney, Texas. The Spring Nationals is returning to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati in Batavia, Ohio, over the Memorial Day weekend, May 23rd to 25th. For the 11th time, Newcastle Motorsports Park hosts the SCUSA Summer Nationals. This year's champions will be crowned over the July 25 to 27 weekend in Newcastle, Indiana. Regional action is heating up for 2025 with the flagship Pro Kart Challenge program hosting 5 race weekends at 3 spectacular facilities, including the new K1 circuit in SoCal, Spring Mountain Karting in Nevada, and a highlighted return to Sonoma Raceway. The Texas Sprint Racing Series is offering 5 rounds of racing in 2025, visiting 5 challenging circuits from February to October. Growth continues for SuperKarts USA in Mexico as well, with record numbers for their SCUSA Pro Tour Mexico and the Pro Kart Challenge Mexico Series. Set your calendar for November 12th to 16th for the SuperKarts USA Super Nationals 28 as the event returns to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for a 3rd straight year. Be part of the largest karting event in North America. For information on all this and more, visit superkartsusa.com. All right, David Cole, let's wrap things up for episode 89 of This Week in Karting. It is September 8th. Lots going on. We have events. Actually, we're home for a couple more weekends before we get rolling, but a lot of races, primarily at Newcastle Motorsports Park. 3 big races coming here in the next month and a half.
Yeah, lots of stuff up ahead. Again, if you are listening to this on the ECAN Radio Network, make sure you get to the ECAN podcast channels through iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, and other podcasts, wherever you download your podcasts. And if you're listening on a podcast, check out our ECAN Radio Network, playing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the only karting radio station in the world. So yes, coming up to the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 9, September 24th. I think I wrote that wrong. Yep. September 24th through the 28th. Again, a long event in terms of on-track Thursday with official practice, because now it's become a kind of like a week festival because we could really start on track on Wednesday, to be honest, and that could be in the future, depending on how many more entries they continue to bring in for this event at the Newcastle Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I'll be down there for 2 weeks straight, because we got the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, then right into the following week, the MG Tires 200, $25,000 to win, all part of a $100,000 purse for the drivers in those KA100 races. This is going to be fantastic to watch. Brandon Jarsa Crack Racing coming back to defend last year's win with James Overbeck and Paulie Massimino. David, looking forward to that one as well, plus some support categories running for big money this year at Newcastle as well.
Yeah, we got Joseph Newgard and Logan Adams confirmed as a team, part of that 200 lapper. Our latest one was the Magic Kart USA and Adrenaline Fixed Karting partnering up once again. This is a partnership that goes back to the original Robopong 200. And they're going to have a Max Squared team with Max Weiland and Max Christia, a couple of junior drivers coming up to the big boy show and
Nice.
going to try and go after the 200 lapper. Again, that team with the Boudigeau family and the Conlon family have a lot of experience at the 200 lapper. And actually, Andrew and Robert were the top qualifiers at the last Robopong in 2015.
There you have it. A couple weeks later, David will be back to Newcastle Motorsports Park again for the Race Rotax RMC US Trophy Final. David, October the 17th to the 19th for that event. The final opportunity for drivers around the world to get a ticket to go to the Rotax Grand Finals.
Yeah, tickets available for Mini Max, Junior Max, Senior Max, and DD2. They'll also have DD2 Masters and, Max Masters and Micro Max as well on the weekend.
Full coverage, of course. David will be trackside for that. David, we got lots coming up. As I mentioned before, we've got the face-to-face with Formula KFX, the Rotax Racing Club California. We're going to be doing that on Wednesday night. That's coming up as a face-to-face on YouTube and Facebook. Of course, it'll be turned into a podcast as well. You and I are going to sit down and talk with Mike Adams and whoever else we can grab for the MG Tires 200, do a face-to-face talk about the event we just kind of briefly chatted about there. That's going to be big as well. There's lots of stuff coming still. And as I mentioned earlier, ECAN Outlap for CKNA Grand Nationals just 2 weeks from today. Busy.
Yeah, no, and it gets busier after that. So yeah.
It does.
Excited. Looking forward to Cup Karts Grand Nationals, but we also have something coming up the week before that as well too. So again, ECAN turning 25. So
That's
stay tuned for that.
Yeah, 25th anniversary of ekartingnews.com. You'll see more about that. That'll be September 17th, the Wednesday. Maybe we'll have to bring back the happy hour with Howden Show. We're going to bring some guests on, have some fun. Celebrate 25 years of ekartingnews.com. David, final thoughts before we cap things off?
It's been part of my life all 25 years.
Yes, that's right. No doubt.
Number 35 on the forums. So. Final thoughts. Stuff. Yeah, final thoughts. It's Monday. Hopefully I'll recover by the end of the weekend. I need to get some more sleep and lots of content coming up this week.
This week brought to you by Tylenol. You'll be all right there. You'll get through it all. All right, folks, that wraps things up for this edition of This Week in Karting, episode number 89 on behalf of David Cole. My name is Rob Howden.